If any of you saw any of those shows, you might remember that I jumped through a hoop. The massive hoop. It was wrapped in white paper and the ass is shaking and backlit. And I would burst through that thing like a circus tiger. When it worked. See, hoop jumping is not an exact science. And from city to city, the crew didn't always use the same paper. So when the paper was too thick, I would just bounce off and hit the ground like a wet satin noodle. This was not pretty. Not pretty at all. Sometimes I look back and I think about that kid and I think, dude, how did you survive that experience? How the hell did you ever fit into those pants? There's so many things I could say.
Go for it.
So,
let's hear it.
I grew up in this family of singers, and I was exposed to tons and tons of musicals, mostly Broadway movie musicals, as a kid. And this gave me a very, idealistic idea of romance, of how relationships are supposed to work. To the point that, before I was even out of preschool, I could fall in love with a lamppost. I actually got married in the 2nd grade. My bride's older sister thought it would be fun to have this pretend ceremony, and she set us up under the canopy of this beautiful big old tree, and she wrote us some vows, and she got me a ring out of a little bubblegum machine. And this was all wonderful, but when that little bride girl, sweet little girl, after we had a little ceremony, said, "See you later, buddy," I was devastated, because I actually had this really pure idea about how love was supposed to work. It was shamelessly romantic, and my brain had clearly been Rodgers and Hammerstein. This is a song my father used to sing. I used to hear him sing it all the time. He loved this song. And I loved the song too, but I never thought I was old enough to sing it. But apparently I'm old enough now. Once upon a time, a girl with moonlight in her eyes put her hand in mine and said she loved me so. But that was once upon a time, many years ago. Once upon a time, we sat beneath the willow tree, counting all the stars and waiting for the dawn. That was once upon a time, now the tree is gone. How the breeze rustled through her hair, how we always laughed as if tomorrow wasn't there. We were young and didn't have a care. Where did it go? Once upon a time, we were younger than we knew. Everything was ours. How happy we were then. But can once upon a time come around again? Tonight, once upon a time, we'll be yours again. Tonight, once upon a time, we'll be yours again. to my good friend Kathleen Seek. And to my left, this handsome devil, my nephew, Cole Cassidy. Playing far better guitar than I will ever hope to. How many guys got dragged here by their wives? I saw that look of excitement in your face. That's right. And I'm just guessing you may have wanted to kick my ass in high school. Maybe you want to kick my ass right now. Maybe this could be a healing night for both of us. I am, yeah. So, long before I was at the Astrodome, me and my 8th grade punk band were playing parties all over Southern California. And in those days, I wasn't the dashing rogue you see standing before you. I looked like a golden retriever with really bad acne. I had long, stringy hair and braces, and I weighed about 8 pounds. But even then, I was writing songs. So, if you can picture this poor kid from Beverly Hills, this 8-pound golden retriever face boy showing up at your prom or your dance or your bar mitzvah. He might have been singing one of his little songs that sounded something like this. Well, my jeans are too tight, I just don't feel right. I'm stranded in Beverly Hills. Girls are too flirty and the water's too dirty, and those high society ladies give me the chills. With the Gucci bags and the middle-aged sags, they parade in their limos like queens. If they like it, they want it. If they got it, they flaunt it. They'll probably never know what living means. Stranded, stranded. Stranded, stranded. In Beverly Hills. I got better. I didn't love Beverly Hills, but this is where our parents moved us when I was in the 4th grade. 90210. They heard the schools were good, and I suppose they were, but a lot of other stuff was pretty skewed. The values are kind of upside down. I think my dad, who'd grown up a blue-collar kid in Queens, had just seen too many episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies. He wanted in that pool, Jack Cassidy. The dashing and debonair Jack Cassidy, who was famously known as Columbo's favorite villain and a Tony Award winner, starred in a number of Broadway shows. And my mom, Shirley Jones, she's an Academy Award winner, and she starred in 3 of the greatest movie musicals of all time, Oklahoma, Carousel, and The Music Man. So I grew up hearing all these classic show tunes, but this was not the kind of music that was going to fly at the high school dance. So I started writing my own stuff, and my favorite place to write was at my friend Miguel Ferrer's house. My late dear friend Miguel. Miguel's mom was Rosemary Clooney. And Rosie had been one of the biggest pop singers of the 1950s. At the height of her fame, she bought this mansion that once belonged to George Gershwin, and it came complete with Gershwin's piano. So every day after school, I would go over to Rosie's and sit at this Clooney Gershwin piano, attempting to pound out these little rock anthems, while this kid from next door, Michael Feinstein, would keep coming over trying to push me off that piano so he could play his standards. And Miguel would be outside playing basketball with his brothers and his cousin George.
Clothing.
So this was a perfectly normal childhood. One night, we're all sitting in front of the television, and this group comes on called the Bay City Rollers. You guys remember? They're this band from Scotland that wear these tartan outfits and this goofy hair clip. Anyway, they're doing a concert, and the girls are going insane. They're screaming and crying and peeing in their seats. Now, I'd seen this kind of thing as a kid with the Beatles and later with the Monkees, and then even with my own brother, David. But for some reason, on this particular night, it hit me. This whole teen idol thing is not about the performer. It's about the audience. It's the shared experience. It's like one big hormonal hurricane. Whatever side of the hormones you're on. Anyway, something about this just stuck in my head, and I ran to the Gershwin piano. I wrote this song, and then a couple years later, when I was making records, it ended up on one of my albums, and people thought I was writing about me. No.
Fresh out of school, proud and brave, we were born into the heart of the golden age. We had nothing to lose, nothing to fall. We had only to give, and we gave it all. Caught in a hurricane that was yet to be seen, and baby, caught in a teen dream. Whoa, too young to know, too young to care. We were riding on the dream and the love we shared. So we gave with our hearts, our mind, our soul. A generation younger than rock and roll. Caught in a hurricane that was yet to be seen, and baby, caught in a teen dream. Whoa, an overnight sensation. No time for an explanation. Sensation. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo, teen dream, teen dream. Woo, oh yeah. Teen dream, teen dream. Woo, too young to know, too young to care. We were riding on the dream and the love we shared. So we gave with our hearts, our mind, our soul. A generation younger than rock and roll. Caught in a hurricane that was yet to be seen, and baby, caught in a teen dream.
Here's my second big secret of the night. I've always had a pretty deep voice. But if you listen to any of my early records, it's rather high. There was a reason for that. The producers sped up my voice. Yes. Told you it was a big secret. Why did they do this? Because they thought my voice sounded a lot older than I looked. And they were afraid they'd think it's some like Gordon McRae guy singing the do-run. And maybe they were right. They told me that my first album was the biggest selling solo debut in history. Until Whitney Houston took the crown. But if you if you wonder why I sound like this, and I sounded like this on the records, that's the reason.
Shaun.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. It's a little warmer in Hawaii, isn't it?
Australia's warmer.
Oh yeah, Australia too, right? You're from Australia. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've had enough fun.
Take the jacket off.
Really, that's where we're gonna go this early in the show?
Yes! Woo! Do it! Do it!
Teen Idol is a perfectly fine job out of high school, but it's got kind of a short shelf life. So fairly early on, thank you. You like this back? I'll use it again. So fairly early on in this whole Teen Idol hurricane thing, I'm thinking I better start looking at some more long-term career options because short shelf life. But there really isn't a recovery program for this sort of thing. Fortunately, as will happen with Teen Idols, I met a girl